Welcome to the channel. My name is Vincent. The channel is called Vinny Sleeves, and this is going to be a channel about Anoles, tachydromes, more known as grass lizards, and keeping any other species of small tropical lizards into bioactive setups. And this is my very first YouTube video. Okay, so let's jump into the intro itself, and I'm gonna do this based on the golden circle, which is a marketing model. And it goes a little bit like this. So you have 4 layers, namely, why do you do something, how are you gonna do it, what are you gonna do, or what do you want to achieve, and who is gonna do it. So that's gonna be more about me. So yeah, first part of this golden circle, why am I doing this? And you should actually keep the why pretty short, catchy, so otherwise you get already lost in all the details. So it should be sort of a one-liner where you say, this is why I'm doing it. A little bit of background, I'm doing this reptile hobby for 12 years now. Not in one go, but I quit it a few times, started a few times. I will actually explain it at the end of the video. And yeah, why am I doing this? Now I just figured out I want to do something more serious. Seriously. I want to do something more seriously. No, but serious. I want to do something more seriously with this hobby. Also something which is maybe a bit more meaningful, and I also want to become more active with the hobby. So at the moment I have the feeling I'm doing it in my basement. Actually, this Vinny Sleeves initiative is also for me a way to find out what I want to do with it. I'm not sure yet, so but this is the start of it. The why am I doing it? Really short, my background in this hobby. I'm doing this for 12 years now, not in one go, but I started a few times, quit it a few times, and maybe other people will recognize this. And now after 12 years of doing this, I just know for sure that I want to do something more seriously, more meaningful, more actively. So also just want to put in more hours in the hobby, put more work in, and I'm really not sure where this will end up, but this is for me a start to do this more seriously. Seriously, I want to do something more seriously.
So now we move into the how and what will I do part of this video. I actually have 60 minutes of recording material and I was video editing it, but I just couldn't get the story out of this that I want to tell, and it's the core part of this video. So yeah, a lesson learned for me there. If I want to tell a bigger story, I should make a script or something so I have hold on to. First, quick recap on the why I do this Vinny Sleeves stuff. What I said multiple times, I just want to do it at a more serious level, the reptile hobby. I also want to give more meaning to me doing this hobby and perhaps do meaningful things for the hobby. And I want to be more actively engaged in the hobby by spending more time towards it. So, and if you spend more time, you should also find a purpose to do it. Otherwise, it's just a waste. Now, how will I do this? First of all, I just want to expand. So I want to expand by getting more animals, different animals, and I also just need more space to do all of this because now I am doing it from the living room. I also want to get more experience. First of all, by just doing all of this, so it's like practical work experience, and perhaps I am also gonna do some official studies. So stick around for that. And yeah, final this YouTube channel. So I want to set up this YouTube channel, build a certain structure, get a certain routine, to put out videos there, and of course they should also be inviting people to look at them and stick around, and also this whole thing will be a learning experience. Then the expand part, what will I do? Well, this year I will go from 6 enclosures to 13 enclosures. That's all gonna happen in my living room. So I will get 5 nursery enclosures on the top of the 6 you saw or are seeing in the video. And these are for raising babies, maybe put a female aside, and also be able to do a spontaneous purchase. Now, a lot of times I'm fully full. I'm at an expo, I see something, and I cannot buy it. I will also get 2 new normal enclosures, and yeah, because of the babies I have now going to a normal enclosure, I can actually get 3 new species this year. And those will be the Tachydermus maragdinus. I already had them, but I had to get rid of them, so I will regain them. In September at the Ham Expo, I will get Anoles schwarzi, and at the Ham Expo in December, I will be getting Anoles bombiceps. So stick around for that. Then the expand part after that. So then I reach the maximum, yeah, things I can do in the living room, and then in the coming years I want to create a reptile room. Maybe you can even call it a facility. And yeah, so I want to rent a place, maybe 1 or 2 rooms big, and then I can work from there. I want to create a few zones there. So the first zone will be a workplace. So there will be a workbench there, some storage, and yeah, I can use that space for setting up enclosures, doing all kinds of maintenance, and it will be the studio for these YouTube videos. Then the second zone will be the main rack. I want to get 24 enclosures there, so 6 racks with 4 enclosures, and half will be for anoleses and half will be for the grass lizards. Then the third zone, that's going to be a nursery rack with roughly 18 enclosures. So again, for raising babies, separating females, and be able to do something spontaneous. Then the fourth zone I will call my special project rack. And yeah, the first idea I have now is to get this pit viper. I will show a picture during this presentation, and now apparently this is a good venomous snake to get into venomous snakes. I don't want to get into venomous snakes, but I actually do want to get this one. And so yeah, things that are not really related to Anoles, Tachydermus, or that kind of stuff, it's gonna get a place here. And then the final zone is a rack for yeah, growing or cultivating plants and moss and that kind of stuff. The bromelias and the moss is actually a big cost thing with the enclosure, so maybe I can also push that down a little bit. And also a big part of this all is that I want to be comfortable managing all this by myself. Then the second thing, experience, also a few bullets here. So of course I will get experience along the way, don't need to explain that. And then the studies I mentioned. So there is actually this sort of certificate in the Netherlands, and you have to have it if you want to do something business wise with lizards. So as soon as I need this, I will get it, and I will make some videos on this, how it is it useful, that kind of stuff. I'm also thinking about really getting a master's degree in herpetology, and it's going to be quite a long route because now I have a degree in physics, IT, and so yeah, I first need this basic biology thing, then I can do it at a bachelor level, and then I could get into this herpetology university, and that will take 6 years in total. But I also want to take for building the reptile facility, so yeah, maybe it's nice combining this. And then the last bullet at experience, of course, also from other people. So just meeting other people who are breeding anoles and sharing experience. Now, then we go to the final slide, I think, of this presentation. And yeah, what will I do? This YouTube channel, and I want to make 3 types of videos. So first of all, I want to make progress videos, and these videos will be all about what I just mentioned. So the progress of the facility, progress of that kind of stuff, etc. And now the first videos that I want to make is regarding these 5 new nursery enclosures that I'm getting, also expanding the rack in the living room and adding these new enclosures. So I will make videos on that, experience videos. So these will be sort of educational videos, you could call it, about how to set up a bioactive enclosure for an anole, care and maintenance that you need to do, and also specific specimen species videos on like Anoles and Tachydromus. And now the first video series that I will make is how to set up a bioactive enclosure for Anoles. Then the third type of videos, it's like a group. It's educational videos, community videos, and network videos. And now I will make videos on the studies if I do them. Maybe I will pay visits to other people who like the stuff that we do. Maybe a breeder, maybe a person who's really specialized in import export, maybe people who have a little bit a bigger collective and that kind of stuff. And yeah, who knows? Maybe when I go to an expo or a reptile house or something like that, I could also make videos on that. But these videos will be for later when I feel more comfortable with this whole thing. And very final, yeah, this is also just gonna be a personal development journey for me. I mean, I'm already noticing with this first videos that it's quite hard to talk into a camera. It's quite hard to tell your story how you want to tell it. So I want to learn on that. And you also need a lot of technical skills like filming, video editing, image stuff, and really fun to do. So also want to learn there.
What I want to achieve, this part is a bit shorter again because my goals are, yeah, I don't want to put the bar too high or create expectations which will not be met. So the first what I want to achieve is just get comfortable running more enclosures, because the 6 now in the living room, that's 2 fingers in the nose to maintain them every day. What I have to do, I will grow towards 13 in the house. I don't see any problems there still. Then I will move to the facility, and there it will get tricky, of course, because I want to do a nice decoration within the room, have some plans for that, and I will then expand my enclosures rack by rack up until 24, the 18 smaller ones, the special projects. So at that point, it will become a lot of work. And so one of my goals, what I want to achieve, is get comfortable running a bigger number of enclosures. So that's goal 1. Goal 2 is I just want to get more experience. So uh, very simple, getting more experience. Then the third goal is that yeah, that's going to be the third goal. No, also just learn more about this whole YouTube thing, because I'm doing it for 2 weeks now recording. This is my first video, and I can just see already that this is gonna be a big getting to know yourself, a big learning route. So that's also one of the goals, just get comfortable with this whole YouTube thing and get a routine also in putting videos out there. And I also want to start putting some humor in it. Of course, I want to make videos interesting for people who are watching, and not just only because of the content, but because of the whole. So let's get a nice atmosphere going, and people actually think like, hey, I'm waiting for the next video. So also want to learn in that regard. And then last goal is, actually not the last goal, 2 more goals. The next goal is, I hope that this channel will also trigger people, maybe trigger people into starting the hobby, so that you are becoming a beginner keeper. And I said you should start and with a not with an old, which is a little bit more exotic and needs a little bit more specific care, but maybe you should start with something like a crested gecko or something. I will make a video on that. And maybe I also would like to trigger or motivate people who are already in the hobby to move towards bioactive anoles and tachyphones, because I'm back in the hobby for 4 years now, and I met this guy, which is a big fan of Anoles also. I think a lot of people in the hobby know him actually, and Anoles are like decreasing, so we see them less and less, and I don't think it should become too big, not as big as bearded dragons or crested geckos, because that's maybe too big. I hope I don't hurt anybody's feeling here, but you know that more people again are getting interested into that niche of the hobby. So that's something I am trying to accomplish. I would love to meet people who are doing anoles and maybe have really cool specimens, species. And then the last part, now I forget what the last part was, is doom, 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 doom. Ah yeah, last goal, and this is maybe the most specific goal, or the goal which is gonna be the hardest, and that is, it would be really cool to get new species, or species that are no longer in the hobby, into the hobby, so back into the hobby. And maybe I said it already in the video, not sure, maybe I will edit this out. I like small anoles, the smaller the better. So you have this SVL, snout to vent length, and I want to have anoles with a maximum SVL of 5 centimeters. And I have this list now with all anoles with their maximum SVL. I can actually see that there is this one anole who has an SVL of a little bit over 3 centimeters, so really small, but I cannot find it. Also, this guy I know, who knows like everyone, he cannot find it. He was looking for me, and so I would love to get tiny anoles back or into the hobby. And an example is this anole from Cuba, the Anoles alitaceus. And apparently it was in the hobby. Actually, this guy I know, he had them, but they vanished from the hobby. And we already tried to get it back, because this one guy was supposed to go to Cuba in a legal way, of course. And we asked him if he could take like 2 or 3 pairs. But we got back from him, really sorry, all export from Cuba is closed. So he didn't go to Cuba, and instead he went to Peru. He goes a lot of times to Peru. So yeah, that's one of the goals I want to achieve, is to get tiny anole species into the hobby. And also regarding tachydomes, I would like to get some tachydomes species which are not in the hobby now into the hobby. I will not name any genuses there, because this is really longer along the line, and yeah, it's going to be difficult. We have actually a contact in Hong Kong now and a contact in Singapore. We did ask them already, but it was a no-go, couldn't happen. So not sure if I will ever, or we will ever be able to do this, but this would be really, really cool to get new species, or species that are no longer in the hobby, back into the hobby. I will run with the animals, run. No, so step up your game, guys. Finished now with the official golden circle. Told you why I want to do this channel, how am I gonna do it, and what do I want to achieve. And now the last part of this video is who is gonna do it, and that will be a bit more about myself. If you're not interested in that, you can actually just drop off now. And remember, I will start uploading my real content videos starting September, because after this video I will first go on a 4-week holiday. After that I need like 2-3 weeks to do some setup for this channel. I will get a better camera. Everybody says just do your first 10 videos like this, but I would like to get a better camera, and stuff will change here with the rack and the enclosures. So then also the whole wall behind me will be a better background for the videos. And then I will start with my videos. So starting in September, and my first video series will be on how to set up an enclosure for Anoles tachydomes bioactive. Okay, so back here, I have to cut this out again probably. So we finished the original structure of the golden circle. Why am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do it? And what do I want to achieve? And then this extra layer, like who is gonna do it, which is me, of course. And nah, I will tell a little bit about myself in three different ways: my private situation, a little bit regarding my work. Work is a big part of life, and the final part will be everything. Yeah, what is from me towards this hobby. So, what is my relationship with the whole reptile hobby? So yeah, privately, I'm exactly 40 years old. I live in the Netherlands, southern part, in this mid-sized town called Etteleur. I live there together with my Hungarian girlfriend, and yeah, we have three beautiful daughters, and they are 1 year old, 3 year old, and 6 years old. So yeah, really busy, and maybe you can imagine a little bit why I need a facility outside of the house and cannot do it here any longer. Maybe other interests I have besides reptiles is I maintain a small watch collection. I like to pay attention to affordable watches, follow some YouTube channels there. I also like headwear, so I have like these kind of caps and sort of hats. Also a bit busy with that, and also the whole fantasy science fiction thing gets my attention. So I'm reading a lot of fantasy books, Robert Jordan at the moment. Play this card game called Magic the Gathering. Maybe you heard of it. And I also like to play board games. For example, my favorite is Spirit Island. Doing that a little bit. Then regarding work, I'm 40 years old. I finished my studies when I was around 24, so working for 16 years now. And I've always been busy in the area I would like to call BPM, Business Process Management. So I'm a consultant. I get to companies and we try to improve or change the processes according to their needs. And in the year 2024, of course, you use a lot of software for that. So I also know a lot of business software like ERP systems, CRM systems, Salesforce, that kind of stuff. So that's what I do for a living. And then the very final part of my very, very, very first YouTube video is then my relationship towards the hobby. Maybe in the video I already mentioned something earlier, but I think I started when I was like 11, 12, 13 years old. And I still remember it. I walked into this pet store. It was in Etteleur, actually, at one of the main streets called the Bisschop Molenstraat. And there was this pet store with quite a big reptile area for such a pet store in this kind of town. So, and it was of course because the owner had keeping reptiles as his own hobby. And I went in the store, and it was it was like love at first sight. So, I mean, I've seen reptiles on the television at National Geographic or Discovery or something, and that always triggered me. And also in zoos, I was always a bit longer in the reptile house than at other parts of the zoo. And and then I found out, wow, you can really keep these animals as a pet. So I think from that moment on, I after school, like daily or a few times per week at least, I went to the store, and the owner started to notice, of course. So at a certain point, he always came to me and we talked a little bit, and he told me about how to take care of them and stuff like that. And I think it was like 3 or 4 months later when I got my first enclosure myself. So when my parents found out there's no danger there, I was allowed to get an enclosure. My very first enclosure, I think for that time, was this typical enclosure. So it was fully glass, not nicely finished with plastics or anything. And if you opened the windows, it made this crackling sound, was what was annoying. And my decorations inside was like one piece of core bark, 2 fake plants that you place with the zippers against the window, a little bit of bark as substrate, and a water dish, and of course also a normal lamp which was on the inside of the terrarium, so the lizard could like hit it and stuff, or was sleeping against it, and you put the lamps on and they get scared. So that kind of enclosure. And yeah, my very first lizard was the Tachydromus sexlineatus, so I will call it now the regular long-tailed lizard, and I actually got a pair, and I even bred them successfully in that setup, so they are easy to breed. So that was my very first lizard. Then soon after that I got a second enclosure, like exactly the same, but then with the Anoles carolinensis, so the roadkill, the red-throat anole, also a pair. Then I got my third enclosure with a green tree frog in it, and yeah, actually after that I got my first big enclosure, and I got bearded dragons. It was 1.2, so 1 male, 2 females, and I started to breed them really fast, and it's crazy how many eggs they lay compared to Anoles. So I actually needed to like 2 of these devices where you can put the eggs in, and at a certain point I had like 100 plus. After that I got 2 other species of desert lizards, but I forgot about them, so let's skip on that. And then finally, in this first period of me doing the hobby, I got also a really big enclosure. I was allowed to put it in the living room, and there we put in iguanas and wateragames. Sorry, I don't know the English name, but the water agams. And yeah, that was it. And I think this first period, I did it for like 6-7 years, and yeah, I got a bit older, of course, so my maintenance, I slacked a little bit on that. At one point, a few of the bearded dragon babies died, and my parents freaked out because animals should not die like that. Of course, now we all know that sometimes you do lose animals, they don't all make it, and I had to sell everything, and that was the end of the hobby for me at that point. I always kept a little bit interested in it, attached to it, so there were a few forums I was active on. I kept going to stores to just check them out once in a while. I kept going to expos, so yeah, always stayed a bit connected. Then I think roughly 7 years later or something, I started again. I was working then, I had some more money, and this period was just terrible. So I started completely wrong. Didn't do enough research, and I bought these 3 big enclosures, like 1.5 meter wide, etc. And I went for 2 species of Euromastics, the Euromastics acantinura and the Euromastics disparmaliensis. And I got this tegu, Tupinambus marinea, if I pronounce that correctly, and yeah, it just went completely wrong. So I did it like 2 or 3 years, enjoyed it a little bit in the beginning, but then stopped with it. I actually gave away for free all the animals, did sell the enclosures, and yeah, that was it. So yeah, at that point I was at like 8-9 years experience. And then I started years and years later, so 4 years back from now, and yeah, that was just a really pleasant surprise. I got interested again, wanted to start again, and then you go on the internet, and it was like, wow, there's just so much content now, and all the equipment that you can buy and stuff is so much more professional. So really cool, and I think I did everything exactly in the right way. I did a lot of research, I think like 6 months on the internet, YouTube, and I found a few of these tarantula channels. This one guy, I think I can say his name, I think it's Tom Moran, and he even has this playlist how to start with them, etc. Really nice. And so yeah, I went for tarantulas in the beginning, mainly because they are low maintenance, and they say you have to build up a rhythm, a schedule, you know, to do it. Started with 1, went to 3, went with to 25, had 25 in the end, and overall experience just really good, and I think tarantulas are still are really fun, but I don't have any anymore. At one point I also bought a ball python, same reason, low maintenance, not a too big a snake, and I was curious how snakes are, am I afraid of them and stuff, and also really nice experience overall. I did give her back to the breeder because I wanted to stop with snakes, fully focus on anoles and tachydermes, and now he was happy to have her back. He actually said something like that he went a little bit too far with all the genes and stuff, and I had this beautiful female with only two genes. I think it was Butter and Mojave. And I also got a Pac-Man frog, but it's gone now. Was not such a good experience. I think I messed humidity up, but yeah, I was not so into that. So I parted from it. You can still see some isopods on top of here, so also do that a little bit. And I also really like to do that. And now, at one point, I think 2 years ago, I got my first enclosure again with lizards, and they were the Tachydermes smaragdinus. And yeah, that was again just a homecoming, and I knew, hey, lizards are the thing for me. And yeah, that's a little bit my background with reptiles, where my 12 years experience comes from. And yeah, now I just love to build these bioactive setups. I think from A to Z that's really nice to do, you know, with the background, the planting, microorganisms, lighting, also a topic for a video for sure. And yeah, I'm gonna move further from here. So if you're still around, maybe do a little bit of an outro. So yeah, if you're still at this point in the video, thanks for watching. And again, I will start uploading content videos starting September. First a holiday for a month, then getting some things set up, and then I will start. And then my first series will be on how I set up a bioactive enclosure for anoles. And I think I will start with progress videos also very soon, because I will get my 5 terrariums here, which is a nice topic for a video. We'll get a new rack even, so that's a nice content for a video. And I cannot wait to pronounce that I found a room where I can start in. So yeah, a lot of people do this. Please subscribe and stuff, but I leave that all up to you. So maybe I just finished with a I will see you when I get there. Thanks.